The Jew saw them all, beat them all, and is now what he always was. All things are mortal but the Jew. All other forces pass, but he remains. What is the secret of his immortality?
And we are here again, the Jew Function podcast. I'm Leo. This is Seth.
Hey,
and we have a great guest. Excuse me, I'm so excited. A great guest for you today. Yeah. Someone we've been trying to pin down, but this guy is all over the place. Right now is one of my best followed digital content creators. I found him actually with a friend of mine, Danny Whitesville. Maybe he sent you a message. He's a guitar player. He sent you some tracks, I think, and you guys talked on Instagram.
Yeah. We did it for a bit.
Right. So Danny turned me on to him and like, man, you got to talk to this guy. He gets it. And so I started to follow him. And then one day I was like, hey, I'm coming to Israel. And I was like, wow, that's cool. and I'm like, let's meet. We tried to meet. Obviously, it was hard to, disengage him from the center of Tel Aviv, from a nice plate of hummus and all the lovely people there. But we finally pinned him down. He's Shady Shae. He's I'm sure most of you know him. He's a digital content creator. I love his curiosity, open-minded exploration. He's going beyond the headlines, beyond the slogans. He's I think he just recently crossed 1 million followers, right?
Yes, about 2 months ago.
Mazel tov to you as we
Thank you.
And he's one of the reasons why he's here, not the least, but is that he's his fascination with Israel, with the Jewish people, with the culture, with the story, with the history. And we want to talk to him because we like to get that perspective when we explore the roots of anti-Semitism and the solutions to it according to the laws of nature. And every once in a while, we have all these people who are not, seemingly should not be interested in what the Jews are going through. And here we are with someone who, just out of the blue, or maybe not out of the blue, we'll hear from him today, developed this fascination with the people of the tribe. I don't know, maybe we'll find out he is one of the tribe. No, it's not a spoiler alert. I have no idea. We'll see. Well, I'll just say that Seth and I, we have a different definition for what makes a person part of the tribe. It's not what it says on your national ID card. It's not who your mother or father are. It's something else, something deeper. So we'll touch on that. On that note, before we start, if you're watching the Jew Function for the first time, you're invited to check out the first 22 episodes, where we lay out the entire story of the Jewish people and the explanation for anti-Semitism and the systemic root and solution to it. And like, comment, and share this talk so more people can see it. And without further ado, Mr. Shae, how are you? You're in London, right?
Yes, I'm in London. Yes, and I'm good. I'm good. Just been a bit busy trying to explore the world as much as possible, either by traveling or by online research and trying to understand what's really going on with the world right now. Because to be honest, the world has really changed from when I was a child, from the things we've been taught in school to what I see on a daily basis. It's just I find it a bit strange. And for me, rather than just assuming things, I like to first research to know, as much as to get like to make an educated guess of how life will be in the place. Then I listen to people's opinions, and then I try as much as possible to visit or meet someone from the particular place I'm curious about, because there's something about lived experience. You cannot deny someone their lived experience, no matter what you think, no matter how many years you spent studying a particular, topic or country. People that live there are the ones that actually know exactly, what's going on ground. And those that visit with an open mind. That's what I think. But yeah, I'm good. I'm good. And you? How are you?
We are very good. I wanted to, we'll get to know each other more as we go, but I want to just on the tail of what you just said. It used to be that you would when I grew up, when I was a kid, probably a little older than you, but not that much older. But when we were kids, you know, if I
Yeah.
wanted to learn about a place, I'd open the encyclopedia. Remember, it was this, everybody had these lots of these big books on the back. Some, you know, some of your kids out there don't know that, but there was a thing called an encyclopedia Britannica sometimes.
Yeah.
And you would open it up and you read about a place and see pictures about the place. And a little later, there was, you know, there was TV, there were nature shows, there were, you know, History Channel documentaries. You would learn about things. Then, you know, if something happened, you know, in a place, the news would report about the place. They give you a little back story about the place, and it was fairly neutral, I will say. At some point, we got to a place where you couldn't trust any of those things to tell you about a place. But what do you think happened? How did we get to a place where we have to rely on the curiosity of other people to show us around the world?
Well, to be honest, right? Like if I tell you that I do know, you know, that I do have the answer, then I definitely I'm lying. Yeah, one, I'm younger than you. You have more experience than me, in my belief. But also, you know, uh, I hear things, but I don't like. I'm someone that likes to ask the question why things are the way they are. For instance, if you tell me, like, for instance, let's say 1 + 1 is 2, I'll be like, prove it to me. Why is 1 + 1 2? It's easy. You show me one on one and count them together. You know, I want to see why is it? Why? You know? So if you allow me to digress a bit and come to like the more recent times,
Sure.
um, there's been a lot that I've heard about Israel. You know, so much I heard about Israel that got me to a point where I was wondering how things like this can be true. And I thought to myself to speak to people. You know, I spoke to people that are not from there, people from London, and they told me so many things that I found to be preposterous. So I thought, okay, speak to an Israeli. I spoke to actually, I used to think that all Israelis were Jews. So before, like back in the day, I'll say, speak to a Jew, assuming it's Israeli, but I've been educated that there are Jews, you know, then I mean there are Israelis, then there are Jews as well. Then some Jews are Israelis. Anyway, long. But yeah, I'm kind of losing my train of thought.
That's
But
okay. You're just telling us why, you know, why you decide to take matters to your own hand and go explore for yourself. I was
yes,
just curious if you had, you know, I know you don't
an
have
answer.
the answer. Yeah, no, but like, what's happening? What's happening in the younger generation that, by the way, some people are saying are just not as even I don't want to say intellectually challenged
Mm.
but despite all the technology they have access to and everything, they're even less studious, less
You
curious,
know,
less, you know, like what's that?
what I would say is the media is what they have been fed with. I genuinely think so. Yes, because I talked about something like this recently where I went, like, this new generation need more role models, you know, more people that are more enlightened on topics, you know, that would actually speak about it. Because most of the celebrities these days are quite ignorant about what's going on, and they just take a side without doing any research. Just take a side because it's popular. And I was telling someone that I really think that trends in this world. So now this is my opinion. All right. No one told me that. I didn't read it anywhere. I just thought that on my own after you know a few things that I've seen that trends, you know, trends are being sponsored. I feel like someone somewhere just decides that I want a certain thing to trend. How can we get it trending? Let's get celebrities, pay them, and push this out. And then because if many celebrities do this, the younger generation will feel like, yeah, that is the right way, and they'll go. And that was just a
Well, what
summary
did you
that I
see
got
that
to
made that
myself.
crystallize for you?
Oh, okay. Um, I don't want to go into politics exactly yet, but there's some political things as
Take your
well.
We're
time.
going to keep pushing you there.
Talking about even fashion, for instance, like even fashion, if you notice, like a lot of brands, if they want to push anything out, they get a new product, they get celebrities and pay them to wear, you know, the products. I'd say all the good things they can about it. And these celebrities go out, say these things, everyone will buy them to wear them just to feel among, to feel like, oh, they're trendy, this is what's happening, this is the best. But sometimes when you compare the quality of the particular thing and the quality of something that's much cheaper, you find out that the quality of the cheaper one is much better in some cases. So I just feel like all this popular knowledge, what's going on around, that's my thought. Again, I'll say it's my thinking. I'm not pushing that to anyone. I just came to the conclusion on my own that I think there's some powers, some things behind pushing some things. Yeah.
The there's no question that that we are products of our environment. I think that much is clear. I was looking for a nice quote from one of the sages I mentioned to you earlier about that, and I'll find it. But I'm curious: is this how you suddenly turned your spotlight onto Israel and the Jewish people? Is this because you started hearing all that negative, trendy, negative stuff in the media, and but you start to ask questions? How did you come about? Did you have
Uh,
any? Are there any Jews in your family? What's the story? Why
okay.
that?
So I must say that my family is Christian, right? So we are Christian, grew up that way, and we've heard all these beautiful things about Israel, the promised land, promised to them years and years and years ago. Jacob went somewhere, fought some angel, built, I think, an altar or something, then built a country, God changed his name to Israel, had the 12 tribes, and all of that. Went into slavery in Egypt. So I learned all of those things, right? And uh then I suddenly hear that Israel went to some country and stole the land. And I was just wondering, I was like, where did it come from? And how did it, so basically they went to steal a land from, where did it go? Where did it come from to go somewhere to steal a land? And the land is stole, where is the geographical location? Where is the land in history? And I checked and I thought, is the Bible lying to me? All of that got me really curious. I started thinking like, wait, if this is not true, like, so if it's true that they went to steal some people's land, then all the things I read about them in the Bible, then how true is that? I was just randomly thinking. Then, uh, and then I thought that, okay, maybe, just maybe there's something everybody is missing. And to be honest, I didn't really study much of history around the Middle East. So I'm not sure about, I wasn't sure of the, political history in that area. And then I decided to just do a bit of research. And then I went and that's how I learned about the British mandate of Palestine. I went further back a little bit, to anti-Semitism before World War II, with Hitler and all of that. I went through quite a lot. I had like an epiphany, something. And after going through all that, I went and I was like, wow, there's so much misinformation that is spread abroad, and nobody is doing research. Because I had a chat with a few people here, that told me so many interesting, stories that I never heard about. And when I challenged them a little bit, they thought that a lot of them asked me if I was being paid to talk about something. And I was wondering why they would think I was being paid. And being the kind of person I am, the things I talk about are mostly factual. The reason why I say mostly is because sometimes I draw conclusions, but mostly factual. And anyone that wants to argue with me, I let them speak. Most of the time, I rarely talk. I let them speak. When they are done, I tell them to take their phone or we take a laptop and we just search. And whatever they want to talk about is right there. And case closed most of the time. But yeah, I ramble sometimes because sometimes I get start getting passionate about what I want
Let
to
me
talk
ask you,
about.
who you're living your life. Who's starting to be talking about Israel? Right, you're in London.
Mm.
Where is the conversations happening that
And
make
when?
that push you to the point where you said, "Let me research this." It's not like one
Um,
person said something or two people said something, right?
No, quite a lot. So, I've been making videos, right? I've been on YouTube since 2018. I've been making different type contents. Like, so for me, YouTube is just a place to go and just do whatever comes to my mind. I had no topic, nothing. I just go on there. And so what happened was I used to make these reaction videos around different cultures around the world. And a lot of my followers would ask me about Israel and Palestine, which side I support. And I just go, I don't want to talk about things like that. It kept on since 2018. I've been having, suggestions to talk about it over and over again. At some point, some people, felt like I was being, how should I put it? Because I didn't want to take a hard support for any side. I didn't want to talk about Israel. I don't want to talk about Palestine. And then a lot of the pro-Palestinians got a bit offended at me for not wanting to support Palestine because Palestinians are victims. And I was wondering, like, before I can talk about something, I need to have in-depth knowledge. Plus, my content was around entertainment. But the pressure got on and on and on. I didn't give in. Not until 2019, I think, when there was the Eurovision. And with me, with Eurovision, I was checking out every country. For me, there was no discrimination. I was checking out every country. Then I got to Israel. Then I think there was a guy called Kobe Marimi or something. His song was called Home, or yeah, something like that. When I checked it out, the amount of hate I had on my channel, just so many hate comments. And I was wondering, I was just checking out music in Eurovision, and I never said anything particularly, just maybe positive to Israel. All I cared about was his song, his performance, how good it was, and if there anything he could improve on. But the hate was a lot. I was wondering where the hate was coming from. To be honest, after a while, I took the video down because I wasn't ready for any hate. I wasn't ready for any politics. Then the following year, Eurovision again, I think 2020.
Was
Then there
there
was another.
any was there any hatred in anything else you were doing, or just this one thing?
No, nothing else. It was just that. That was the first time. Okay, normally people will go, "Oh, why am I checking out this song? This artist is bad." Stuff like that. But this one, I was getting so much hate that I'm supporting this genocidal, these big people, that's stealing people's lands, these colonizers. I didn't want that at all. So I took the video down, everything got back to normal, continued my life. Then the following year, Eurovision again. I checked out Eurovision and there was a black lady singing for Israel. I can't remember her name right now. I think the
She
song was
wasn't
like,
black. She was tan. I think she was black, but
so to me, at first she was black. Is that she sang a song called Kafir Liber or something like that. I can't remember. But I think she was uh Ethiopian, if I'm not wrong.
Eden.
No,
oh yeah,
not
Eden. Yeah. You're right. You're actually right.
uh
You're actually right.
yeah, because
That's her.
yes, her, this
Yeah,
one.
yeah. You're right, man.
Yes.
I was
She looks like a white colonizer.
Yeah, so I looked at that and I was wondering, like, this doesn't make sense. And people are saying, oh no, that she was paid to go perform for them. Well, I still didn't check out
She
Israel
was
because
forced to perform for Israel.
taken. So uh even with that, I still wasn't curious enough because I wasn't ready for anything politics. Not until what's her name? Until recently, after the October 7th, right? Even October 7th, I still didn't check. It was when I just thought that, let me check out Eurovision again. Then I checked out, uh, what's the artist name again? The one for last year. She sang, wait, let me look it up. Eurovision 2024, Israel. I checked out her song. It
It
was,
was another Eden, by the way, 2024. There's a different Eden. This one,
oh, that was Eden Golan.
Eden Golan. Yep, yeah,
I checked out Eden Golan. I felt like she did really good. But for
yeah.
me, Yuval Raphael, her song was on a different level. Now, I'm not just talking about the performance itself. The performance was good, but then the lyrics and what it meant, because it came right after October 7th. People would,
Yeah.
I think, like 2 years after October 7th.
Yeah. She was one of the survivors from the Nova
And
Party.
she was one of the survivors. So everybody would expect her to sing with bitterness, for the perpetrators. But I listened to the song. New day will rise. Everyone cries, don't cry no more. And when I listened to the lyrics, I thought, you know, this person must have a pure soul. You know, this person must really do. So I wasn't using her to represent the whole of Israel at that point. I just felt like there must be something really deep about her. So I thought to check out her story of how she survived. I checked it out. So the hate I thought I had in 2019, yeah, I thought I had hate then compared to what I had last year. That wasn't hate. It was incredible on my Twitter, on my Instagram, on my TikTok, everywhere, even getting emails. People were angry
What were they
at
hating you
me.
about?
They were hating me for the fact that I liked Israel's song. They said, "Why will I be liking a song of baby killers? That Israel is not a legitimate
Imagine,
country."
imagine it's 19, 39, and Hitler comes out with a song, and I say, "Wow, what a great song!" You can imagine people are going to say, "How could you like a song of a baby killer?" If that's your actual perspective.
Well, 39 was still too early, Seth, but maybe
Okay,
42.
42. Okay, so
Mm.
so if you actually believe that, of course you would say that, right? So it's not like people are just not informed. I mean, not just saying it for no reason. It probably means deep in their guts they believe that. That's why they're having such a reaction to you, like, right?
Yeah, I actually felt so. I felt like they definitely really believed it. And I thought that, I mean, from what I've been seeing on the news and the posts, it would have been easy for me to believe it. Then I thought to look a bit deeper to see, okay, what's the truth behind this? And when I checked everything from the very beginning, I knew that Israel were attacked. And after being attacked, it's just normal for anyone to want to defend themselves. It's just very normal. So, what the analogy I used was, imagine maybe I was home. Maybe let's say I live in a duplex. I'm upstairs. Somebody comes in, takes my family from downstairs to some, I don't know, some other house. I come downstairs. I find out that someone's taking my family. I'll get my allies, my brothers, my cousins, whoever I can. We'll go over to this person and get my people back. I said, normally speaking, that's what I'm gonna do. And if I go to get my people back, they don't want to give me my family back. Well, they're gonna pay. They will definitely have to. Nothing is gonna happen. I mean, I'm not gonna leave there except it's like over my dead body before I will let go. But if I still have breath or something, I must get my family back. So that was the analogy I used, that Israel just had to get their people back. They were defending themselves. That was my opinion.
But
Then
but
I
but I'm
tell it.
sorry, just to interject. I mean, you following a very logical train of thought, and in fact, people did it. They were like, imagine this would happen in America. If you scale it to America, it's like
One
someone
week.
invaded from the Mexican border into
1
Texas,
week.
killed 100,000 people, took 30,000 hostages. What, like, they did the numbers, right? The ratio. It was
Yeah.
like, what would you do? And they're like, oh, they'll bomb them out of the off the
That's
earth, or
it.
whatever, right? But and yet, people's opinion of Israel is very different. It's like anywhere else in the world, the reaction
Mm-hmm.
is rational. Or
Well,
Mm-hmm.
around,
look at Iran today. There is even no reaction. I mean,
No
there's
reaction.
people being
yeah,
killed in the streets of Iran, and the college campuses are silent.
No reaction.
Iran
Absolutely.
Iran has killed more people in the last couple of weeks than all the Jews who died in terror attacks in the last 150 years, minus the Holocaust.
No. Yeah.
Yeah,
No absolute way.
yeah.
Yeah. Wow. You see? And no one's talking about it. Greta is not saying anything. Cenk Uygur is not talking. And it's just alarming. Like, why? Why do you get to pick
Why?
and
That's why
choose?
you're here. Why?
Yeah. Like all this picking and choosing. Now, for me, my summary would be that I won't say there's someone, but I believe there's just, there's maybe organizations or I don't know, there's an agenda, there's a plan somewhere, some strings are being pulled, you know, logically speaking. All right, logically speaking, that's what I think. And no one's told me that, just logically speaking, just doesn't make sense because the double standards is just too glaring, just too, you know, too in our eyes. All right. Yeah, so doesn't absolutely make any
So,
sense to me.
so why? Enlighten
I
us.
wish, I hope you have an answer. You tell me. If I had all the answers, I'll tell you everything.
we have an answer. I mean, that's what we're trying to explore here on the Jew function is exactly this, right? Like, not only why is there anti-Semitism, but which, by the way, is a terrible name for anti-Semitism because any ism is is a type of ideology, and anti-ism is going against the ideology, right? Anti-capitalism, anti-communism, but Semitism is not an ideology; it's simply a certain ethnological group, and even that is not accurately describing Jews. So it's a bad word. So put that aside. I think it's anti-Jew. Okay, when you say, "Oh, we're against the Zionists," no, you're against the Jews. You can't even tell who's a Zionist and who's a Jew. So stop with the bullcrap, right? It's you don't like Jews. Now we are not only looking at why this hate exists, but we're trying to track it over time to see if there are things that would clue us into when does it rise, because it seems like it never goes away. Maybe it becomes dormant and then it kind of comes back again, right? And goes dormant and comes back again. And like, so is there something that can give us a clue as to why this thing never leaves? And so when we were looking for it, everybody can, by the way, who's joining in, can tune into that first season and you'll hear a longer explanation. But the bottom line is that humanity is one group of people. It's like one family, right? I'm sure you feel it. I think anyone who's cosmopolitan in nature feels like, oh, we're just all people, right? Now, that's great. Now, if you imagine this one people to be almost like a single body, right? Humanity is one body, made up of all these different cells, different organs, if you will. Okay, so far the analogy sticks. Yeah, good. Okay, now. Yeah, I'm just,
it does.
You could, by the way, you could say no. You could say no. You're full of shit. But as long as it's not full of shit, you'll be our shitometer.
It works for me.
Okay, good. Work. So humanity is it's a big family. It's a big network of cells or organs, just like any other network. You have the internet is a network. The electrical grid is a network, right? The internet is a network. The human brain is a network. There are different types of network in nature, and they all follow the same laws, more or less, right? How they're configured, how stuff goes through the network, right? The network is not flat. There's always like these hubs in the network through which ideas and resources and money and energy, whatever, flows into the rest of the, right? Because it's easier than for me to get to you through a hub than for me to get through every possible node until I find you, right? I get to your, your third cousin and then your second cousin and the first, right? I take forever. But if I go to church, for example, the church that you go to, boom, right? Boom. I found you. So networks is how nature organizes things. And in the network of nature, Jews play a certain role. It's not because they're Jews, rather because of the role that they play. They're called Jews. Okay, the word Jew comes from the word Yehudi in Hebrew. You heard that word probably. Yehud comes from Yehud, meaning unity. Okay, bringing people together, creating this sense of unity. That's the role of the Jews. Now, they play this role in the system, but it's not a direct thing. It's not like Jews are simply, hey, you two hub. It's not like, right? They're playing this role of hubs by creating all kinds of connections in the system, right? That facilitate things, right? So that's why you see naturally in modern times Jews in media, Jews in finance, Jews. Why? Because those are hubs. You connect a lot of people around those hubs. It's not a coincidence that you have an unusual.
Sorry, you said finance, and they say Jews control the money.
No, they don't control it. They're simply playing a very instrumental role in it. That it's not like there's a Jew with a key sitting somewhere and controlling the money, right?
Money to here to there, money. Yes.
Exactly.
And the media as well. They say
and
you control the media.
Same thing. They don't control the media. Again, I don't control the media. If I would, then this show would be on every show, on every channel. But they're definitely playing the hubs in those positions, right? I mean, it's again, think of the unusual statistics, right? The number of Jews in those positions in media companies, in internet companies, the guys behind WhatsApp and Facebook and Google, and it's not a coincidence. It's because they're very suitable for this. Now, why? You would say, why are they so suitable for this? Because nature needed a group that would help humanity move, through different phases of development. Okay, makes sense so far?
Well, why is it only the Jews that can do
Well,
that?
it's not only the Jews. You need everyone. But just like in the human body, for example, when you hit puberty, right? One day you're this kid, and then suddenly, right? Suddenly you have
different interests.
Hair where no hair was before, right? We saw those clips, right? What happened? Right, a small group of cells, a small group of cells called hormones started to run around and initiate those big changes in your body, right? That's how nature makes changes things. Small group starts. Triggers a big flood of changes. So you can't change everyone at once. It's not like a magic show. You need a trigger. You need a starter, and that's how it is in everything. It's like in a nuclear bomb. Just to make a rare comparison, right?
Yeah.
You don't just blow up the bomb. No, you need a fuse. You need actual regular explosive to go off to set off a chain reaction, and then you have a nuclear reaction, right?
Yeah.
So it's the same thing in everything. You need that group.
Even in an apple tree, in building a car, in making a phone, like everything is a sequential process. So in order to get the entire population of humanity to a place where everybody is brothers who lives together in harmony and love.
Whoa, you're already jumping.
I'm always jumping ahead.
Hold on. Before the brotherly love, let's just talk about jumps in evolution. So every major change needs to be triggered, right? And
absolutely.
And this group simply, you needed someone. Nature needed someone. So what did they do? They took representatives from all the nations that gathered around Abraham in Babylon 3,500 years ago, where all the nations were still in one place, more or less,
which is ancient Iraq.
Yeah, Mesopotamia, right? So representatives from all the nations. It's not one group. It's everybody who united around a certain ideology. And they united around this guy, and he said, "I'll teach you how to relate to each other in a different way." At a time where everybody, at first, were pretty much like very brotherly, very close, right? Things were very close in ancient times, right? You had these clans and tribes and extended families, and there was a lot of trade and barter and a more familial type of exchange between people. But one day there was a leap in evolution, right? There was a jump. And suddenly people started they stopped rather than start. They stopped trusting each other implicitly the way you trust a family member, right?
Where did you get this information from?
What's that? Well, so it's written about it in the Bible when you read the story of Abraham. But then you have historians who write about it. And you have Maimonides, who was a Jewish scholar who wrote about Abraham. And you have a lot of those.
Josephus Flavius.
Yeah, Josephus Flavius. You have a like I said, the good thing about the Jews is that you have an uninterrupted chain of history that's fully documented. It's one of the only people, they documented the genocides and the successes and everything, So this was very good. So Abraham, who was a local priest, he looked at nature, he saw what's happening, he saw that nature advances by taking two opposite things and somehow making them connect. Okay, and that's why you need the two extremes. You need the plus and the minus in order to create something, right? But you need a load in the middle, right? Like a lamp, right? A resistance, something. You're into electricity. You have a
I saw a bit of engineering. Yeah.
Okay, there you go. So if you just took plus and minus together, you get a short circuit, right?
Yeah.
But if you put something in the middle, a load,
Like with
something
the
that
light as
can,
well.
a
refrigerator, an air
resistance,
conditioner, a light.
anything. Suddenly you can create something out of this,
Yeah, get the
these two
voltage.
extremes, right?
Yeah.
Same thing with humanity. If you just take two people who, a Republican and a liberal, two people who hate each other, you just
They
put
say
them together in the
liberals.
same room, they're gonna kill each other, right? But
Liberals,
but
yeah.
have them unite around a shared goal. Suddenly something new is happening. A good example, less extreme, is marriage, right? You take a man and a woman, two extreme opposites, and also they're egoists on top of that, and you put them together and you say, okay, now make it work. Well, the
Maybe.
first year you kind of love each other, the hormones, everything, but then after a while you're like, wait a second, what am I doing with this asshole? There's just
Goodbye.
right? Because if there's a kid, then okay, let's stay together for the child. If there's a business, let's stay together for the business. But most people are not taught how to stay together without that third point, which is very material, corporeal. You need a higher third point, something a higher ideal. We call this ideal love. Okay, where you can call it the creator, you can call it the God, Allah. It doesn't matter. It's a force. It's a positive force in nature. It's a higher positive force where these things reconcile. And so Jews were taught this thing from early days, and they were on an accelerated pathway of history to continue to grow their ego and rise above it. All the stories that you talked about in the Bible in the beginning, they all talk about internal change in a person. They're not talking about history and geography. They're talking about changes in a person. And the Jews were the ones who were poised to at first advance a little faster than everyone else, and then at some point to disperse among all the nations and slowly bring everyone up to speed, as it were. Now the question is, what does it mean up to speed? Human evolution, the first few thousand years, egoistic, right? The bigger the ego, the higher you get, right? The CEOs, the presidents, the people in power are the biggest egoists. They're not the biggest altruists. You'd agree, right?
I'm following.
Yeah. Well, again,
it's a very interesting story.
Yeah, it is a very interesting story. Their ego was the driving engine of humanity. So nature rewarded big egos. And so you have wars and clashes and hostile takeovers and all those things.
Yes.
They generally help to evolve humanity. We find medication, we find technology, all through this friction. But at some point in time, nature shifted, upgraded the software. Now it's no longer egoism. Now it's altruism. Even bacteria knows this. If you research mold, you see that mold also starts with separate cells that fight over resources, but at some point they go like, oh, screw that, let's just work together. And they become this master organism that suddenly thinks and feels like the entire organism, right? And humanity needs to rise to that occasion as well. How will that happen? You need a catalyst. You need someone to ignite this process.
Yeah, start the engines.
Who is that person? Persons?
Your people.
The Jews. And now, that still doesn't explain anti-Semitism, except if you consider that Jews are not doing this, and rather we're still embroiled in the same games as the rest of humanity, we're effectively holding humanity back unconsciously. If humans, Jews don't know it, and humanity doesn't know it. But everybody's angry about the Jews all the time in different ways. Today it's this, tomorrow it's that. It's they killed Christ. Oh, they did this. They're revolutionaries. They're communists. They're capitalists. They control the media. They control them.
Yeah.
I have this angst. The world is like a angry kid that needs to become a teenager, and the hormones are not kicking in to make the change. So I'm left with all this pent up energy. I don't know where to take it out. Who will I direct it to? It doesn't make sense. It's irrational. Facts don't matter because that person is standing on my oxygen line. That's the story.
Yeah, that's a very, very interesting story, mate.
So what do you think about this story?
I would say the story sounds, if anyone hears the story, you say it sounds a bit fairy tale-y. If I'm being very honest.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's just basically how it sounds. But then there's a lot of things that you said that, I've kind of, agrees with the Bible, I would say. Quite a lot of the stories there, like, the nations of the earth shall be blessed. In Israel, whoever blesses Israel will be blessed, whoever curses Israel will be cursed. Um, Also in Israel, being the chosen, the Israel, Abraham being chosen, and the Israelis being the chosen people, you know, and even from the things that we've seen in like, these modern days, even when it comes to advancement in technology, there's almost always an Israeli involved or pioneering it, like Hollywood. People complain about Hollywood. I know it was Israelis that started it or something like that. Then
Jews.
I
Yeah,
know
a bunch of Jews.
Jews, yeah, Jews started it. Then about the Black, was it the Black Death? I can't remember. There was a time when Jews were kicked out of the of England, but then they said they were kicked out because they were everybody else was dying, but the Jews were not dying. So they
Right.
called them the witches and wizards.
They ascribe that to excessive hand washing and hygiene, hygiene.
Hy- Yeah,
Um,
hygiene because it wasn't
but
spreading. Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I've heard so many things about Israel that just makes it sound like, you know, it's a fairy tale. But then sometimes it's just hard to explain these people because if I explain, they'll say, where am I getting this from? I'll say from the Bible and from the things that I'm seeing in the modern day, in this modern age. But it just sounds a bit hard to explain.
yeah.
So
It,
no
it,
matter
sounds
how
it sounds like a dream,
it
right?
just, yeah, it just doesn't sound real. So there's one thing I'm gonna say, right? That I only found out very recently, very, very recently, because I do read the Bible. I think I've read the Bible back to back. I can't remember how many times, growing up as a child. Um, there's a verse in the Bible, I can't remember exactly where, but it says, no arrow that flies by day, no, is it weapon by night shall, is it shall, wait, give me a moment, let me find it. Where it says, no weapon, uh, I'm just gonna search for the Bible verse.
Sure, sure. Is this from the Bible, from Psalms?
I think it's from Psalms,
Psalms or
from,
Song of
from book
Songs?
from book of Psalms 9 says, uh,
Read it.
I found it. I think I found it here. Okay, accept it. No arrow that flies by day. No, that flies by night. And now this was one topic that myself and my sister actually talked about. We had to talk about it. So Psalm 91, I think it was Psalm 91. You will not fear the terror by night, nor the arrow that flies by day, nor the pestilence that stalks in the darkness, nor the plague that destroys at midday. 1,000 shall fall at your side, 10,000 at your right hand side, but it will not come near you. With your eyes you behold and see the punishment of the wicked. And there was a part that says, the Lord shall surround the whole of Israel round about. As I was talking to my sister, we just mentioned the Iron Dome because we all assumed it was a spiritual thing. We said it could be literal as well because we're just talking about all the technological advancement in Israel. We're talking about ways, talking about is it the pill cam? Is it?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, then we're
Yeah, well,
talking
you want a
about
list? There's a whole list. I mean, we need 2 podcasts to go over the list of things.
yeah, there's the drip irrigation. Someone argued somewhere that the land where Israel are now was occupied by the Palestinians. Then there was a lot of malaria, a lot of there were swamps, and they couldn't live there, so they left the land.
Right.
Then the Israelis went to that land, and then they fixed the land. They made the land,
Okay,
prosperous.
I'll
Then the
give you some more
Palestinians
correction to that. They didn't just leave the land; they sold the malaria infested land to the Jews, hoping they will just kill them off. But the Jews,
oh yeah,
they
because
dried the swamps and drove away the
yeah,
malaria.
because that was the story I heard. Like this story, I only heard it. I think last week there was someone that was saying the story on Twitter, and I thought, me in my mind, then I thought that so they left the land, there was no one there because they were dying. Then some people went there, they fixed up the land, and now the real owners came back to the land because now the land is fine. I didn't even say nothing. I just looked. I was like, oh, okay, one of those things. And then, so there's quite a lot of things that I know that. Israel have done, So for me, why people hate them just doesn't make sense because Israel is the only country that, or let's say Jews are the only people that have just one country and are not interested in taking over any other. I mean, from what I've seen so far, right? There's only one Jewish nation. So like the hate for Jews doesn't make absolute sense to me at all.
If we can think of the whole of humanity as one family,
Yeah.
and we can think, you mentioned the woman who was that Eurovision winner who was a black girl. So
Yes.
yeah, so you have in this Jewish family, you have black girls and white girls and fat girls and skinny girls and redhead girls and every kind.
Mm.
You have Jews from Iran, Iraq. I mean, who ended up, they're all one tribe originally, but they ended up in parts of Asia, in South Africa, in South America, on all the continents. So when you walk, so your experience in Israel, I'm sure you saw that it doesn't look like you're walking through Indiana or Iowa, where everybody might look similar in some town in the Midwest. What was your experience when you looked around over there?
To be honest, when I went to Israel, I had to check to be sure I was in the correct country because the amount of people I saw, I was like, what? I s To be honest, if I hadn't been there, like if my 2 feet didn't touch the ground and I didn't smell the air and hear people speaking actual Hebrew, I wouldn't have believed it at all.
How did people welcome you? What was your experience when you met people there?
So to describe this, to explain this to people, what I did was I made a live video. I went live. The first one was live, but then the network was a bit dodgy. Then I just recorded without editing. I just took my camera, just walked for about an hour. I just walked, took a walk around, right? I put the video up. A lot
What
of
neighborhood were
people
you in? Do you know
did
where
not
you
believe
were?
it. Yeah, I started walking from
He was
Nahalat,
in the around the Carmel
Benjamin.
Market, Nachla Binyamin, right, middle of
Yeah,
Tel Aviv.
Nahalat, Benjamin. From there, I just walked, just kept going. As I was walking, a lot of people were smiling at me. A lot of people were talking to me. I had a chat. I posted a video online, and a lot of people asked me who paid me to post this video. But they had no idea I was sleepy. I was literally about to sleep, and I thought, I haven't recorded today because I was busy. Okay, let's just walk around. Just walked around. Came back, went to sleep, uploaded it 2 days later, and I started getting comments that this was a paid video. I'm telling you, it was so random. People were nice to me. I talked to a lot of people there. You'd think I had known them, for time. And right after I finished the video, as soon as I just went, bye, guys, I took my phone down. Some guy just walked out from a restaurant. He was like, "Hey, I think I've seen you before on YouTube." He said he's a chef. He said, "Come in, come have dinner here for free." And I was like, "Oh," I said to him, "I just stopped recording. I wish I could have recorded that, but I was tired and I left." But yeah, it was so amazing. The friendliness, everyone was willing to talk to me. No one was giving me these salty looks. Everybody I asked a question to, all answered very happily as well. Uh, I saw the whole spectrum, the whole spectrum of humanity. I saw them there. I met some guy
When you say the
from
whole spectrum of humanity, what do you mean?
the snow bunnies to, I don't know, to the, let me be respectful, to black people.
So all the different colors of skin, you're saying you saw
Everything in
there.
between, from very white to very black. Now, when I
Yeah.
say black, I'm talking about real black, like pitch black, Nubian type black. It was like a street black. I saw this guy. I went to chat to him, like for real. I spoke to him. I couldn't record because I was at the conference then. I spoke to him, I asked him where he was from. He said he was from, I think it was Sudan. He was from one of these,
Maybe Eritrea.
no, not Eritrea. I met Eritreans, I met Ethiopians, I met South Africans, I met Nigerians, I met Malawians. Malawi. That was the first time I'm meeting someone from Malawi. I'd never met someone from Malawi before. I met Ghanaians as well. So me and this guy were talking. He said to me he was from Sudan. I was like, ah, I said, are you Israeli? He said, no, 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 no. He said he's Muslim. I said, oh, okay. I said, what are you doing here? He said, no, he said he's been here for about 15 years. I was like, oh, I said, why? I said, do you, live here now? He was like, oh, he said he goes back to his country maybe once every couple of years. He said he lives here, that, oh, he loves it here. That, oh, it's so very nice, so very nice. I was like, and you're from Sudan? He said, yeah, from Sudan. Sudan. I said, very nice, very nice. His English was a bit poorly. I mean, mine is not as great, but yeah. So he left. And then I met another guy that said similar things. Then another guy, I met quite a lot, that are from Muslim countries that live there. Oh, there was a guy I spoke to online as well on Omegle. He's Palestinian. I have the video online actually on my YouTube. He said he's Palestinian. So I asked him where he's from. He said he was born and bred in Israel. He's Palestinian and everything. I was like, oh, okay. Then I said to him, why is he in Israel? I said, aren't they racist people, all these colonizers? I said, why is he with colonizers? He said to me, huh? He said, no, 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 no. He said, I'm confused. I said, no, bro. I said, I've read the news, everything. I said, they are not very nice people. They are vile. Isn't it dangerous for even for a black person to go to Israel? He said, where am I hearing this news from? He said, bro, I'm from Palestine. My dad, my mom, Palestine, but I live Israel. Israel, amazing. He said they want peace. Peace, but anyway, he said he can't talk. He said, bro, nice talking to you, bro. And he went off. I was like, wow. So with this experience, I realized this was what solidified, that my what do I call it? It's escaping me. But let's say my opinion, I should say, my opinion of always making sure I research whatever I hear. I take everything with a pinch of salt. I heard so much about Israel when I was a kid. I heard so much positive things about Israel because I was a Christian. I mean, I am a Christian anyway. So many good things. Then growing up, I had so much negativity, so much bad PR about Israel. But then I thought, because my dad was a really staunch Christian, I thought, even if it's only for my dad's sake, I'm gonna go to this country for myself to see. If they're racist to me, I'm pulling out my camera straight away. If they're nice to me, I'm pulling out my camera. Whatever it is, I'm pulling out my camera. I went, I was just so more than impressed. Came back here, told a lot of my friends that, to be honest, they should come. And I have some friends here that are really, really interested to go, even Muslims that want to go, you know, just because they've heard so much about it. Some Moroccans, they want to go. They're like, wow, really? They said they watch my videos and they've seen my experience. And, they said it doesn't just make sense to them as well.
Shady, you've been to a lot of places. You've seen many perspectives. Do you have like a vision for what humanity could be if we get this experiment right? If we as people can work this out, like what's the best case scenario for us?
Have you heard that there's a story in the Bible? I don't know if it was very positive. Have you heard of Nimrod, where they tried to build a tower? The
Yeah.
tower of,
That's
yeah.
the time of Abraham. That's exactly that.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
That's where Abraham gathered all of those people, and eventually they left Babylon. But that was Nimrod.
Nimrod said everybody should, we should all go our separate ways. It's not working out. Too much, the friction. And Abraham said, no, no, no. The friction is an invitation from nature to rise above it. So everybody left except for a few thousand people that gathered around Abraham, the Jewish people, the future.
Okay.
Jewish people.
But that was where, because the story that I heard of was that the all nations had one language and one purpose. And they thought that they wanted to build a tower to reach God because of their unity. Anyway, what I feel, really strongly believe, like you said, I really believe that we're all one family, one big family. And if we could put our differences aside, we can achieve so much, so many great things, so much greatness. That's what I really believe.
This is incredible. So how do you take 7 billion people or 7.5 billion people and convince them to do that?
Now,
One
That is a,
YouTube channel at a time. No.
that
So,
is
how,
a, that's a
so,
$1 million question. I'm sure if I have
so
the answer, I'll be hired by Elon.
Well, you have a
okay.
million
So,
followers. You just need 700, million or whatever, seven billion
so
nine hundred and 99 million to go. That's it.
And that's, yeah,
this
one step.
this Jew function, the function of the Jew, and by the way, it's not. I'm not so sure that you're not part of this tribe. Somehow, because there was a point, and you'll also read this if you read Josephus and back there, that there was 12 tribes in Israel.
Yeah.
Okay, and after and they were living in the land of Israel. When the Babylonians destroyed their temple in Jerusalem, 10 of those tribes were sent out into exile. So what we know of today as the Jews, all of the Jews that we know of today are made up of primarily 2 of the 12 tribes, which means that 10 of the 12 tribes are still scattered and nobody knows who they are. They
Millions
don't
of
know who they
people.
are. We have an idea of who some of them are, but so there's 10 of the 12 tribes are out there, Jews who don't know that they're Jews. Okay? The question here is, how does 7 billion people agree that they want to live as brothers, as one family, in harmony? So there's this small group who has this role called we call it the Jew function. They have this role as hubs, as for example, your channel. Many people come there, and then you can say something, and it spreads to 1 million people. So you would be considered like a hub. So the Jews, like you mentioned, in technology, in finance, for some reason, Jews have this role in the system of humanity as being these hubs. What happens with the Jews spreads out. You have Mark Zuckerberg, he creates Facebook, it spreads out like that, right? So if there's a message strong enough within the Jews, it can spread out through all humanity. You said earlier, it seems like someone's pulling the strings. Definitely there's all kinds of nefarious actors out there, but there is some kind of system in humanity that what's happening within the Jews spreads out to humanity. The main question then is how to get something good happening within that Jewish group to spread the good message out to humanity. Is it, by the way, you ever research how many Jews there are in the world?
I know in Israel there are about 8 million. In the whole world altogether, I think like 60 million, right?
Yeah.
You're
What
good.
you think when you heard that number compared to their influence?
Mate, it's like a drop of drop of water in a bucket.
Yeah, we
You know?
had a guest here. He went to the Ukraine years ago to train them for something, and there was the foreign minister was in that event with another, and they were talking about how it's great to have him among us, as one of the 90 million other Jews around the world, 95 million. Like that's a foreign minister of a country said, there were like
Wow.
90 million Jews. That it's again, we're a statistical anomaly,
So
because
Nate,
because you don't need that many. Too many Jews, it gets too much argument. It's not good. You don't
they
need
say
that many Jews.
if there are 2 Jews, you get 3
Three
point of views.
three opinions exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Because
And
catalysts are usually very small. You don't need a lot of catalysts to
no,
start like
exactly.
yeast, just a little
That
yeast.
catalyst is what we're calling the Jew function, more
Yeah.
basically. And you see that in every, you brought it up earlier when it comes to social media. You have one celebrity who promotes a brand, or a few celebrities promote a brand, and then 1 million people buy the product.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
it's the same kind of thing. Now the product is, and I see like people who just, no matter what we talk about in the chat, they want to talk crap about it. It's no matter what we say, they're going to do that. But at the end of the day, how do we bring unity to humanity, and we understand it's going to be a process. But how do these catalysts bring humanity? How can we somehow have something that we share in common that's greater than all of our differences?
If you have the answer, I'm very willing to listen. I wish I knew. I wish I knew. It's really tough because to get, let's say, in a country now, right? Let's say in a country, in the UK, a country of about 80 million people, to get 80 million people to agree to vote to one person, it's almost not possible. Just even leave that. Let's even come to a family unit, a family of 6 people, right? Let's say 3 boys and 3 girls, with options to maybe all go, I don't know, choose a restaurant, to all unanimously agree and choose one. Okay, let's come to a couple, a husband and wife, to choose a place
Oh,
to go
by the way,
together.
I heard an interesting statistic the other day. You know how many issues remain unresolved in a marriage, in a loving marriage?
I mean,
What percentage of issues remain unresolved in a loving marriage?
loving marriage, 70.
70%.
Yeah.
Man, 69% is the number.
Ah, close.
69%. Let's say 70. Let's round it up for you, for our guests here.
Yeah.
70% of issues remain unresolved in a loving marriage. It's not about solving the issues. It's not about agreeing. It's not about coming to a consensus. We're not seeking uniformity. We're seeking unity. That's a totally different thing.
In fact, we can also. What's incredible is then you have an amazing tapestry, like all the foods, like in all these places you visit, all the flavors. We don't want everyone to just be vanilla. Let's all just agree on this, but everyone stay in all of your unique qualities, with all your unique likes and desires, but somehow above all of that, let's agree. Well, that's the problem. It sounds super naive.
No. Hold on. Seth, Shady, he's a food guy. He's a foodie. Listen.
I'm listening. Use food.
No, you're not a food. You're a foodie. When you make a salad, right? You cut all these vegetables, tomato, cucumbers, peppers, whatever it is, onion, right? You put them together. And then what do? You put some salt, right?
So add the salt of the earth.
Salt and a tiny bit of lemon juice and some olive oil. What happens? The salt starts to break them down a little bit, right? Not too much. They still retain who they are. Tomato is a tomato and a pepper is a pepper. But together, when you take a bite, that's already a salad. This is not a spoon of a spoonful of tomato, cucumber, and pepper. It's a salad. It's a new quality that exists while all the pieces retain their uniqueness. That's what we're talking about, and that's why it's so hard for people to grasp it, because people are like, oh, either you agree with me or you disagree with me. Are you with me or against me? And we're saying no. We need your opinion, and it's okay that it's totally opposite ours, but we need to love each other above it. Let's find a way to do that. That's the role that's missing from the world today. That's the only thing missing from the world today. You have everything, all the resources. You have medicine, technology, food. You can feed and clothe and shelter the entire planet. What's preventing us? Human egoism. My opinion. I will show you the right way. All that stuff's got to go away. We got to start from the bottom. Gradually covering everything with love between us. That's the role that's missing.
You've just basically described my kind of personality. Just basically defined it with what you just said right now. Because for me, it's about it's not about my own point of view. I've got my point of view. Everyone has got a point of view. But what is beneficial to the whole lot? Yes, I know what I want. You know what you want. But we come together and decide. I might feel I have a really good opinion, or like a really good idea. And then you come with your idea, and we just check it out. And we're like, okay, wow, actually, I like your idea more. And you can be like, oh, I like this in your idea. I like this in your idea. what if we take this and take that, take this and take this and put this like this, come together. But yeah, also we talked about like a salad, different vegetables still retaining their unique qualities, but coming together to form something new, but still you no, that one
That was
I
it's
have
not
to use
me.
that.
That was a
I have to
Jewish
use that.
sage. That was a
Oh,
Jewish
was that a
sage.
Jewish sage?
Of
That
course.
is amazing.
And I'll tell you this: the salt is very important here. The salt,
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
what does the salt do? When you put salt in the meat, it softens the meat, right? It sweetens it. You put salt on the grapefruit. You ever put salt on the grapefruit?
No.
Oh, you should try it. Take half a grapefruit, put some salt on it.
Tonight.
It's gonna be so sweet in your mouth.
Okay, I'm gonna try it tonight.
Yeah, salt it softens, it breaks down things just a little bit, right? You put meat in salt, what does it do? It preserves it. Salt is this
Yes.
thing,
I was about
but
to say that.
but it's also it's like a form of discomfort, torment, right? It's not.
Too much of it get you thirsty.
Yeah, too much is not, it's but
You get
it's you
dehydrated.
need, yeah, but you need to be open to that little breaking, that little bit of, let me, make some room inside your heart for me, and I'll make some room inside my heart for you. And it's not going to be easy or pleasant, but we're going to help each other
Mm.
to climb over our egos. That's what we're
So,
after.
so
Mm.
let's talk for a minute before we
Yeah.
just fly off into the clouds.
Mm.
What is the reason why Shady could talk about all of these things for all of these years, but not until he mentioned the Jews, everybody started hating on it? What is that other pressure? Like, why have you seen it, Shady, in any other, around any other group in the way that you saw it around the Jews?
Absolutely. I mean, there was a time when uh because I'm obviously Nigerian, but I'm also proud of the United Kingdom. I'm proudly British. I'm very pro UK. If there's anything that's good for this country, I'm right there supporting it, from politics or whatever it is, right? And when I talk about it, a lot of people get really angry about it, but not as mad as when I talk about the Jews. When I talk about the Jews, it's like a form of hatred towards me then and my own content. And some people want to start throwing threats, which doesn't make sense. And I'm wondering, am I not allowed to learn about what's going on? So you have an opinion about these people. I want to know for myself, right? You can't tell me something for me to take it as gospel truth. Even when a pastor preaches to me in the Bible, I listen to what they say. I still open the Bible for my own self to check it. I'll be like, oh, he said this thing. Okay, that's nice. When it comes to studies as well in school, we study, we read our books to check, we research to check things, to check the accuracy of things. So I don't listen to every Tom, Dick, and Harry that will come to me and tell me, yo, Shady, this country, these people here, they are bad. I'm like, really? Why? And then you go, just take it from me, they are bad. I'm like, but why? They know, they just are bad. They stole this. I said, they stole this. Why did they steal it? They'll be like, well, I'll be like, okay, let's research it and check it. And research it, I'll be like, bro, you told me they stole it, but look at this. He'd be like, oh yeah, my parents told me that he stole it. Some people actually told me that their big brother mentioned it. Then one said it was someone that said it to them, and I said, did you research for yourself? Research.
But
I
I don't think
think.
we're probably not going to be able to get everybody to research, right? You're serving, or you have to do the work on behalf of a million people,
Mm,
right? Because like all those people said, I just heard it and I believe it. That's what's going to happen. Everyone's just going to hear it and believe it, but they have to hear
mm,
something good and believe it,
mm,
and
mm.
enough of hearing all of the bullshit and believing it.
We need messengers, prophets. We need influencers,
We need
people with
shadies. We
knowledge,
need we need more shadies.
more people with brain
Or
that
we
can
need
actually
more of
talk.
Shady.
Yeah, no, we need more heart, man. We need more heart. That's
Yeah,
what's missing.
honestly, we do. We do.
Because I'll tell you, Seth and I were seeing this. We're bringing a lot of people here. A lot of them are experts in their field, and at the end of the day, the only way we can connect with them is not around what they know. It's about how they feel. That's the thing that people need the most right now. People have
Mm,
less patience today for facts. They don't have the discipline for it. They were not even sometimes trained to look for facts and to critically think about things. And we can argue about it. We can say, "Oh, it's dumb," but that's the reality we live in. And I think people also have started, have learned not to trust facts. What do they do trust is how they feel, which is why they are willing to join a murderous terror organization, for example, because it makes them feel alive and belonging to something big and feeling some brotherhood in a place where they're alienated. I don't know how I'm going to find a wife and get married and save up money. The system is broken. I can't do anything. I need something to give me certainty and security. So let's join this group. Oh, okay, that whatever, yes, yeah, let's do it. Brotherly something, right? We need to give them an alternative, a different vision for the world that doesn't involve beheading people, but that involves loving people. That's all. You need to behead one thing, and that is your own snake, your own egoism. That's the only thing that you need that needs beheading. Everything else, it needs loving. And it sounds kind of like, it sounds like a fairy tale, as you said in the beginning, but it's not a fairy tale. This is backed by a lot of, again, thousands of years of history, network science, and words of Jewish sages that have been talking about this particular action that needs to happen, and it needs to happen now. We are living in the last generation, as we're called sometimes by Kabbalists, Jewish sages. They talked about the last generation because we're the last generation where that ego is still playing a dominant role. Yeah. We are the ones who have to rise above it, help each other. So,
from everything that you've said about what do you call it again? You said, was it that the network nodes? What do you call that again?
Yeah, the hubs and nodes, yeah.
Yeah, the hubs like that. I said, for my thinking now is a way for us to get like a solution or something that might help is if we can get all these like influencers with massive following, even if not even massive following, a few hundreds to thousands to come together. Excuse me, pardon me, to come together, all right, where especially the open-minded ones, and talk about this topic. Just put the topic there and make sure you have facts around everything, and then let them just talk about it and just speak what they think they know, basically, and allow people to just have an open discussion. I think that is going to be a really good way because you have lots of people watching. You have lots of people on the opposite side watching, saying, no, ha, ha, ha. Now they're going to get these people. And then when the facts come out, they start thinking, wait, hold on a minute. I always thought this. All right, let me check. Is that really true? Be like, oh, so to get people, questioning what they know, I think that would really help. I mean, that's how science advanced. People just questioning what they know.
We are 100% behind you, Shady. Yeah. Let's bring them together. Let's do something. Let's change the world. You're already changing the world. We're just giving you one more task. That's
do my best. Do my best on the daily.
No, man, you're such a beacon of light. It's a pleasure.
I think I'm from the tribe of Judah.
It's possible. The tribe of Judah is. I put something in the chat. I'll explain what it is in a second. Okay. Tribe of Judah is. You know what the symbol of. I'll tell you a very quick story before we wrap. You heard about Samson, right?
Samson, yeah.
Everybody knows the Samson, right?
Yeah, he was long hair.
Yeah, long hair. Was dreadlocks. He was powerful. He brought the house down on all the Philistines, and all that. Yeah, but people don't know the backstory of it. The backstory is that his mother was from the tribe of Dan, and his father was from the tribe of Judea. And you know what are the symbols? What is the symbol of the tribe of Judea?
Lion.
What is the symbol of Dan?
I don't know. Horn. A snake.
Snake, yes. So the most individual animal.
Are you serious?
And the most magnanimous, pack-driven animal, right? Those are the two ends, right? When Israel left Egypt, the Judea walked in the front, Dan walked in the back. But you need both of them. And by the way, tribe of Dan is Tel Aviv, right? Is the Dan metropolitan. most individual people in the strong individuality, strong all that, and you go Judea, those are people that are more about the nation, nationalism, all of that. You need both. For that maximum strength, you need both. It's not one or the other. It's not all just conform. It's not all each one do whatever you think you want to do. It's both. That's what gave Samson the strength, and also what people don't remember is that after he died, everybody remembers the story that he killed himself with the thing. No, he became the first dead hostage in Gaza. And it forced all of his brothers and sisters, which he didn't have, by the way, but the Bible says, and his brothers and sisters rose, united, and went down to Gaza to retrieve him. So very symbolic where we are with this story. And
very interesting.
And yeah, and again, all the stories have an inner layer. They're not just, there may be some historical quality to them, but it's not, we're not in it for the history. We're in it for the, how does it relate to us right now?
Well, let's say, like, when we approach all those stories, instead of just approaching them as historical books, let's see that anytime it's talking about Israel, it's talking about the point inside of every person in the world. Inside of every person in the world, there's a point called Israel, which is the point that yearns for unity. And the other nations of the world, each one represents a different egoistic desire of a person. And the whole world, all of those nations and all of Israel and Pharaoh and Samson, all of that exists inside of one person. So when we open that book, that's the story of you. That's the story of me. So anytime we have a quote we're going to read here, anytime we talk about Israel, we're talking about that point inside of me. Anytime we talk about Egypt, Pharaoh, any of the enemies, those are all of my desires that are fighting against unity, love, connection.
So with this, we put a quote in the chat for you to read for all of us, if you don't mind.
Let me find it.
Yeah, it's in the Zoom chat. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So
it's from Baal Sulam. Yehuda Ashlag Baal Sulam was one of the preeminent Kabbalists of the 20th century, and he wrote an article.
Yeah.
It's called The Mutual Guarantee, Arvut in Hebrew, Mutual Guarantee, where he describes that state. And so this is an excerpt from that.
Okay.
So go ahead.
So on here,
yeah,
I'm going to read it now. So it says, now we can clearly understand about the Torah being given specifically to the Israeli nation, because it is certain and unequivocal that the purpose of creation lies on the shoulders of the whole of the human race, black or white or yellow, without any essential difference. But because of the descent of human nature to the lowest degree, which is the self-love that rules over all of humanity without restraint, there was no way to negotiate with them and persuade them to agree to take upon themselves, even as a mere promise, to exit their narrow frame into the wide world of love of others. The exception was the Israeli nation, because they were enslaved in the savage kingdom of Egypt, 400 years in terrible torments. Our sages said, as salt sweetens meat, suffering scours man's sins. This means that they bring to the body grace refinement. Powerful. Really. I mean, we can see it, honestly, from, I keep saying, from the whole technological advancement, from what Israel have done. Imagine that, look at the numbers. Like, if you check with the numbers with what Israel has contributed to the world, it's just insane. It's just insane. Like, I tell people, check facts and figures. Don't judge me based on what I'm saying. If you want to question anything I've said, bring the facts and the figures, and then, you can question me. But don't just, object to what one says without first checking what they've talked about. But yeah, powerful.
Amen. You heard it all from the mouth of Shady Shae, our curious explorer, vlogger extraordinaire. And we are very, very, very happy that you find the time in your busy schedule to be here with us.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Wonderful to talk to you and feel your
love. Now when you come to Israel, we have to get together. I'll show you
all the working on something.
Yeah, good.
Lovely.
And yeah, we invite everyone to come to Israel. Of course, see it for yourself, as Shady said. You won't be disappointed. And I think this is all for a reason. All there's ups and downs, and even all the hate comments and everything. They force us to examine our beliefs and what we're going as humanity. And I think Seth and I, we believe we're going to a good place, but we just need a little nudge in the right direction. So if you feel it too, please join our community, our growing community. Like, share, subscribe to the Jew Function. Leave a comment because it helps the algorithm. And maybe one day we'll be as popular as Shady Shae, but if not, we know one day we shall. But if not, we know that we're growing our network and our community by connecting to more hubs, and we're inviting all of you to do the same. And this is the Jew Function, and we will see you all next week. Thank you, Shady.
Thank
Ben.
you.
Shady.
Love. God bless.
Love.
Bye, Seth. Bye, Leo.
We'll cover everything. Take care.
Cheers.
Have a great
Bye.
day.